Another draft physics video. A little close to the last one actually, but there's a couple of things I missed that I wanted to point out. Superior Mind guy, I'll leave a link below to this video. You know, he did an animation a while back I didn't see, and it's really quite, interesting in terms of trying to duplicate some of these, this idea of this field and its capacity to create interactions. This one's obviously nothing, doesn't have any, my rules aren't in here of the perpendicular stuff and all that kind of stuff, so it's not very useful. And they're all force bits and no matter bits, so that's not terribly useful. And the force bits are bouncing off of each other, which isn't too useful, and all of that crap, but it was just nice of them to do it anyway. I don't know what software to use, but that's what I got. I got to get software that can run that fast, because my models don't go fast enough. So anyway, yeah, mine's can't track this many things and do it efficiently enough, at least the computer I have. So anyway, that was interesting. There was another shit comment by whatever shitwit on my Inmendum channel, which is just more rudeness. You know, just amazing that people, they commit these rudeness trespasses and then they double down on their rudeness. It's just amazing. I see you've blocked me on the physics channel. Yes, I explained why. You just persistently keep trying to say I said what I didn't say. You never directly quoted a goddamn thing I said. You didn't reference the video, section of a video where I said what you said I said, which I didn't say. So again, yes, you're going to lie about me and do it persistently. It's going to piss me off. You can't figure that out, you fucking cunt? So I'll shit on this channel instead. Yes, so that's the rational response. You think you're in the right, and so you think I've done a wrong, and to fix it, you're going to do a wrong. That's, again, a retard. That's a retard's reaction. In response to your lies. Now, I didn't lie about anything. You're clearly the fucking liar, because, again, you're clearly stating I said something that you don't dare quote. No, I am not dragging your philosophy into your physics shit channel, you pinhead. Well, that's exactly what you did do by bringing up the right to life, which doesn't have, frankly, any, it's sort of an ambiguous statement, right to lifing, and clearly you just emphasized the very thing I said don't emphasize. You said if you go back and watch your video that I was responding to, or at the very least if you make an effort to be accountable for what you say online. Well, again, I think I am being accountable. I beg you for a quote. I beg you to say, prove I said what you said I said, you fucking cunt. And you didn't do any of that. You claimed you were being an asshole to me only because you're fighting a war. No, I said I was being an asshole to you because you're an asshole, first off. Okay? And yeah, I don't have time for your bullshit. That's what I said. I'm busy here. I don't need your fucking distractions. You're not helping. You're hurting my cause. You're of no productive use. Why should I waste my time fixing lying done by you? Giving people a misimpression done by you. I didn't say what you said I said. I didn't imply it. You, in fact, maybe through some perversion misunderstood. And somehow that's my problem. I'm saying, no, it's your fucking problem, asshole, and I don't have to fix it over and over and over again. I've emphasized and emphatically stated, I have never in my life, at any moment in my life, believed light doesn't travel straight. Ever. Dumbass. Alright, and don't have time for all this homo stuff. Well, I responded by asking whether said war was against scientists or just pro-lifers. And again, I explained how I was using the reference of comparing these two subjects of philosophy and science, and I pointed out how, in both battles, it's the same kind of bullshit. Fanatics. They're fanatics. They're not logically receptive, as you are not. In response you lied. I didn't lie. So again, you just keep saying it, and yet you quote nothing. I read your fucking comments. There's no evidence of a lie anywhere in this shit. So fuck you again. And make false accusations about my motives. No, I didn't make any accusations about your motives. What I said was, you're wasting my fucking time. And then you kept doing it, which makes you a fucking troll. Motives for being on your dumb channel. Fuck you, dude. Yeah, well, whatever, dude. Whatever, boy. I'm done with you. Well, fine, good. Be done, because you're too stupid to follow along and apparently insanely psychotic in your overreaction to some perceived misunderstanding. You are a hypocritical retard. No, you're a duplicitous asswipe who makes accusations you don't back up with any evidence. Who expects everybody else to be civil to you except you don't have to do the same back. Fuck you, you weren't civil. I have no obligation to accept you lying about me. Where were you civil? You were making accusations about what I believed and what I said that were incorrect. How can you do that civilly, asshole? There's no civil lying about somebody. You can only do that uncivilly, asshole. Well, fuck that noise. Yeah, fuck you. I still haven't you still haven't explained to me why you think light isn't affected by the thing admitting it. What I've made clear is the thing admitting it can't give it momentum. If the thing has a momentum going this way, it can't give light momentum this way. If the thing has momentum that way, it can't give light momentum that way. It can't change the momentum of the light. Obviously, if you have a laser and you point it in a direction, okay, the light will come out of the laser straight. And so you can control the direction. But again, you're not understanding their argument. Their argument is the light goes in the direction it emits, in the direction of the motion. It doesn't add any momentum to the light, it's just that the light doesn't work, that the physics of the light itself forces the light to be emitted in the forward direction. So aiming doesn't really work. They say perpendicular when you're moving means the light comes out this way. Again, the argument was specific. It was in 10 fucking videos talking about the theory of relativity. You don't understand the context apparently, and you'll never will, because no matter how many times I say it, you just keep ignoring it. I never said I believe what they believe. I said I can't create an experiment to prove they're imbeciles. You fucking cunt. Why do you think this when it's demonstrably untrue? And how is it demonstrably untrue? Have you actually moved a laser beam half the speed of light? How do you know it's demonstrably untrue? You retard. And again, I don't believe it. But how do you know? Again, to reiterate, you're a hypocritical retard. Well, fuck you, you're a lying sack of shit. And you don't deserve any more of my time. Well, you never deserved any of my time. And you should just, yes, fuck off, please. And don't go to any other channels, you little weasel. You do the trollish, obnoxious things. Where have I didn't post any comments on your channel. Did I, asshole? And then when you told me to go away, did I post more comments on a sock account or do some other bullshit? No. Fuck you, you cunt. Alright, now, another asshole. I'm sorry, this guy, Markaku, whatever, the Russian guy, I assume. I mean, he's left nothing but nice comments. But this is so fucking stupid that I have to say, it's just so fucking stupid. What do you think I am here for, you fucking idiot? I'm sorry. Hi, Gary. So he's being polite and nice. But this is so stupid. It's such a colossal... It's so insulting to the very function of this fucking channel that I'm saying, what the fuck is this shit? Okay, so he says, clearly gravity... Oh, so he has something to say that's clear. Has a role, what's up and down. Well, you know, the idea up and down is kind of irrelevant when you can be any direction. It's like having magnetic boots. But what's your opinion about two bodies, matter bits, Cavendish attraction? Why the fuck would you ask me this stupid... I mean, it's a fucking 100 and whatever, 50-year-old experiment or something, trying to just measure the density of the Earth essentially by mocking gravity, you know, by creating a gravitational experiment so they could measure the force of gravity based on density. And so what are you bringing this up for? What does this have to do with anything? The Cavendish experiment was sort of fundamental into recognizing what mass was and how heavy this Earth was, and in turn how heavy the Sun was. What are you talking about? Why are you bringing this up? I have a complete theory. Let me explain this to you. I have a complete fucking theory. Alright? It's complete. It goes from the subatomic all the way to the biggest things in the universe. It explains gravity, magnetism, and the nuclear forces. It explains exactly what causes attraction. It explains how the magnetic force creates electricity in a conductor. It explains everything. Now, not with 100% perfect detail, but 98% of the substance of the mechanics. What are you doing here? I don't need to go somewhere and see something else. So he posted this fucking jerky link. Example. So okay, Cavendish attraction. Is there other mechanism? Question mark. What mechanism is in the Cavendish experiment? It doesn't explain what causes gravity, you lunatic. It doesn't explain anything about how gravity happens. And he says, okay, example, growing crystals inside. And that's all it says. And then he posts the link. Growing crystals inside. It's a link to a fucking electrolysis experiment where you just grow some copper crystals. I mean, it's elementary chemistry. What the fuck do you think that has to do with gravity? How the fuck is it relevant? And he says, Lesage, good reading. Some kind of happy face or thumbs up or some kind of bullshit mark. As I've pointed out, Lesage was on the right track, but it wasn't anything close to a complete theory. It clearly had the idea of gravity being an external force, which was probably the way physics should have always thought of it. But it didn't have this, you fucking dumb cunt. It didn't have this polarization thing. And without this polarization thing, the theory can't work. This is what makes it work. This is what makes it do magnetism and the nuclear forces. Without polarization, it can't work. But, I mean, how can you... I just don't understand how you can think I would appreciate being directed to a chemistry experiment growing copper crystals. How the fuck could that have anything to do with my gravity theory or the theory in general? I mean, it's too elementary and it has nothing to do with theoretical physics. That physics is already understood. The creation of the ions transmitting the atom, of copper to the other conductor. I mean, that's all physics has actually right, fundamentally. I mean, obviously they're not getting all the details right, because they don't really understand the forces involved. But I mean, the basic atomic chemical reaction, the elemental reaction, the atomic reaction, they do understand. Oh, fuck. Alright, now, then I was watching the Dissident Science guy, and I've asked him for a couple of interviews since the last time, but he just doesn't seem to, he's always too busy or something, so, I'll wait for him to call on me, I guess. But he's been talking to this other guy, and it's sort of annoying, and it sort of illustrates exactly what I think is the huge mistake in this guy's approach, David's. Of this creating a group of dissidents kind of thing. Because this guy's talking creationism and he believes in instantaneous action. So he thinks, and so does apparently the electric universe people don't believe in the speed of gravity. So they think gravity is instantaneous. And ether, they believe in an ether apparently of some kind that light travels through. So that was a surprise too, seeing a couple of their videos. And so their critique of LIGO is this, I mean, it's lame, is what it is. Because they say there couldn't have possibly been gravitational waves because they don't believe that gravity moves at a speed. So the two different LIGOs couldn't receive a signal at a different time, you see, because it should have been both, it should have been instantaneous. And they use references to Newton's equations as justifications for that. And they say Newton's equations were equations of instantaneous action merely because Newton couldn't assume anything. So he didn't put time in the equations at all. So because he gave time no relevance, means that Newton, they're presuming that Newton was saying something by not including time. And all he was saying was, I don't know. I can't put it in the equation because I don't know. That's why Newton didn't put it in the equation. He didn't say he knew how fast gravity was. And he said quite explicitly that he thought it would be crazy to think gravity was magical action at a distance communication, that there was nothing messaging gravity. So he already sort of indicated he didn't believe in spontaneous or instantaneous. It wouldn't have been his preference to go that way. But those are lame arguments. When you sit there and make an argument from Newton that's based on what Newton left out, not what Newton actually said, that's pretty bogus. And to assert so aggressively that, oh yes, LIGO couldn't possibly detect a gravity wave because they say gravity is instantaneous, which I think reasonable people, who've seen experiments, would understand that there's too much circumstantial evidence indicating that gravity moves just as slow as light. Very fast, but just as slow. And not just because Einstein said so, because Einstein said there's a speed limit. I mean, Einstein didn't really say there was a speed limit. He said there's a consequence to matter going fast, and those consequences create a limit. I mean, that's not exactly the same thing, because the matter has a metabolism. So Einstein was kind of indicating there's something that happens to matter when you give it velocity. And yes, I think Einstein's answer of four-dimensional space-time, big mistake, but nonetheless, that their counter-argument is thin. The evidence for what they're saying is insanely thin for such an assertion. So if they're going to debunk LIGOs, they got to come up with better shit than that, in my opinion. A lot better shit than that. So anyway, back to this interview thing with David. I've only watched half of this. So again, this guy's, a lot of points. He's articulate. I like him, but he's a creationist. I mean, it's just, he's a kook. And he thinks God done it. He thinks that's good physics. And that's just plain, that's a non-starter. But this whole instantaneous action is just such a non-physical answer. The things just magically attract or repel. No physical force required. They just know how to do it, right all the way down to their little subatomic particles. They're just God-possessed with knowledge of each other, and they know to move this way or go this way, and no force required. I mean, that's just too stupid. So anyway, and David keeps talking about his particle theory. Well, now he's promising that they're going to publish something. we'll see if it's, I mean, his theory is a particle theory, but he's assertively saying we don't bother with charge. Well, you're going to have an awful lot of experiments to account for that have charge in them. So I think you're going to have a real problem explaining or melding your theory with the observed evidence if you don't have charge in it. It's really not, I don't see how you're going to have any hope of surviving without charge as a concept. And he puts in infinities. So he's basically saying that this size particle does this stuff out here, and then a littler particle makes that particle do its thing, and then a littler particle makes that particle do its thing. And it's little infinitely down little particles making the particles particles. And I don't think that can survive scrutiny, because we see the difference between what size matters. And there's no chemistry. All the complexity of chemistry, the stuff atoms do, you don't see in the quantum world, and you don't see it in the big universe at all. So I think it's going to be a hard stretch to say it's a fractal, because the levels have certain properties that are distinctly unlike each other. And on the nuclear level, the inverse square law kind of disappears, because everything is very small and the interactions are geometry. And I'd say a lot of it is square geometry, four-sided, cubic, that kind of thing. You're only going to have 8 options. You're not going to have a million options. And then, in the chemical atomic level, the geometry is still there, but it's not as dominant, and charge becomes the important factor, and basically the atoms are creating a duality in their communication with each other, attraction and repulsion, and in different degrees, to create stronger and weaker bonds. And then in the big universe, you just have these balls of mass, and you have to sort of be hit with it to be moved by it, kind of thing. And certainly gravity is out there, which is everywhere. But like I said, on the subatomic level, gravity is much less controlled by the waste of the inverse square law, which is a rule for big masses, not little masses. Alright, well anyway, point is, so you have a huge dichotomy between these two. I mean, a huge rift of disagreement. And yes, okay, they're friends, so it's okay. Or somehow they think this idea that you can sit there and have a conversation where you're trying to defend your theory with a person who believes something completely different that they're trying to defend, and that you're somehow going to have a productive interaction. I think that's doubtful. You're just going to keep measuring your language to try not to be too offensive to the asshole sitting next to you, who you're basically saying is an idiot. He's got it wrong. And I just don't see anything. I don't see how that can be productive. And I would argue, as I have argued, that if you're going to have a group of people, or you're going to feel like a collective having a mission, the mission should be to force conventional physics to be accountable, and to answer questions, and to provide evidence that's lacking, to defend their arrogance and their closed door to theoretical alternatives. That's the agenda, in my opinion, and it should always be the agenda, is just to create the pressure, to put pressure on conventional theory to allow other theories access, and to force them to shore up where their theories are really weak, the conventional theories. And that task we can do collectively. But as soon as I hear these other people advocating for their bullshit, why would I want to be part of that? I mean, that's just a distraction from my purpose. to debunk the other kooks, the other irrelevant kooks. That's kind of a waste of my time. I want to debunk the relevant kook, and I want to defend what I know to be the right answer. So anyway, it is strange. So anyway, I guess I said all I need to say. I mean, the lecture, I could play some clips from it, but you know, they're selling the whole presentation on the LIGO thing for $29. You know, it's clearly become a business, the electric universe, and but their arguments are suck. You know, frankly. And yes, they have a lot of people supporting them, but you know, they're very articulate, very well presented, but the fundamental evidence is crap. And well, David's kind of guilty of that too. He posted a video, detailed critique of LIGO. Oh, and there was no details in this video at all. I mean, pretty much none. I mean, he didn't really address any of the physics of the experiment at all. And, you know, that's sort of bullshit. It's kind of bullshit. Anyway, so, you know, who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm here to defend my theory, and I'm here to defend my arguments that the current existing theory deserves replacement. Okay, I have a better theory, and it's better independent in a sense of, I mean, it answers the questions as well or better, I would say certainly, than conventional theory, and it fits the evidence better, and on key subjects I think it's decisively better. Like, it provides a mechanism for gravity, provides a mechanism for magnetism, and provides a mechanism for the nuclear forces, which conventional physics doesn't do. And those are huge voids in conventional physics. I mean, they're gigantic voids, misses, places it doesn't have an opinion, places it hasn't, so doing a Newton and saying, well, I can tell you what it does, not how it does it. I have to make up virtual things to fill in the gaps. So, yeah. So anyway, it's just disappointing everywhere. It's just, you know, people figure out that something's wrong with the answer they're being told, but they don't know why it's wrong, and they just jump on any wagon going, they're wrong. Doesn't matter what nutty theory they have, they jump on it. And that's no better. I mean, replacing Jehovah, the Christian God, with a 40-foot booger isn't any better. It's just not, that's not an improvement. I mean, a stupid God for a, you know, really dumb God, just, it's not a better, it's not, you're not advancing the condition of your brain. You know, and to jump from conventional physics to, you know, voodoo, you know, infinite particle theories, or, you know, things just know to move towards each other, and they just know to repel each other, you know, run away from each other by God knowledge. That's not an improvement. Yeah, so that's enough. See if there's any more comments. Yeah, since not much chance of that, but we'll see. Nope, nothing new. Okay. So anyway, I just don't look. Anybody who thinks I need to go look at some other wacky theory, just be sure that if you're going to send me to some other wacky theory, that it's not a wacky theory. Because I'm going to judge you based on how stupid it is. I'm not looking for answers. I have answers. I'm looking for the opportunity to put my answers in the blanks. You know, I don't need answers. Got them all. And if you think there's somebody out there who actually does have answers, like I said, just make sure that they got one hell of an answer. Because, yeah, I'm testing you. And if you send me to some asshole growing copper on a stick, I'm going to say, what the fuck? What the fuck are you thinking? Anyway, until next time. Should be.